Hello again. This week I'm chatting to Arlette van Whye and Kate Crawford. These are two beautiful women I met during a course I did back in 2016 with Brene Brown. We really talk about how we came together and the small group that we formed and the insights and wisdom that we've learned from each other and how it's possible to forge a deep friendships and a sisterhood in online communities. Anyway, this is an audio broadcast this week. Enjoy. Hi, everybody. I'm here today with my gorgeous friend Kate and Arlette, who I've never met officially in the real world. But these women have been my soul sisters as I've navigated through some pretty shitty shitstorms. And we all met doing a course with Brene Brown. She doesn't do it anymore, called Living Brave, when she let people like us in and then shut the gates because she realized that it was quite a liability and it was quite full on. But subsequent to that course, we all learned a language, came together, and we formed a teeny tiny group that kind of was an offshoot of the big group, but I'm not sure we'll have time to tell that story. But anyway, I just wanted to introduce you to them both. There are a few other members of us, but they couldn't make it today. And I really just wanted to talk about the power of women coming together online, doing online courses, and the power it has to change our lives. So welcome to you both. And I'll start with you, Arlette. Why were you drawn initially to do the course? What was going on in your life and what did you know?
Yeah. If I go back to that time, and hi, good to see you guys. This is exciting. If I go back to that time, I knew something was happening within me, that I was emerging into something else. I didn't know what, I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I knew that that particular year, I was definitely feeling some stretching and growing. Yeah. And when the course came out, I think I had read The Gifts of Imperfection. So I knew about her. And then when the course came out, I was like, that old money story, $100. Oh, gosh, would it be worth it? Oh, that's so much money on me. I mean, those were I just played that for, I don't even know how long. And finally I was like, yep, I'm just going to go ahead and do it because I'm starting out this year on a new course. And it was such a brilliant decision on my part and the best gift that I gave myself. Yeah. The course was already, my life course was already on a path. What this did was sidled up alongside of it and just made it easier to take, even though it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, is sit with my emotions and get through that course.
Yeah, it gave us the framework. Gave us a framework. Yes. To kind of, a step-by-step process. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Kate, how did you fall into this?
How did I fall into Brene?
Yeah.
Just fall into Brene. My life had imploded or exploded. Something bad had happened, a lot of bad things all at once. And I was left with physical illness, a lot of anxiety, a lot of trust issues, reforming my whole self after a terrible breakup, and some other events occurred all at once. I had a perfect storm. And I had a girlfriend. We had started sort of coaching each other through a hard time. She also went through a breakup around the same time. And we saw the promo for it online. And I said, have you seen this? And she said, I'll do it. I said, okay. And we jumped in together. I just thought what she was talking about was so exciting and revolutionary, and things that felt like a place I needed to go. I didn't want to, but I needed to go. And I liked that she herself is so vulnerable and uncomfortable with so much of the explorations that she's had to do, that made her seem like the right teacher for me. So that's how I started with the Brene work. And then we also moved toward self-compassion work together, which is also kind of how we all connected on top of the Brene work.
Yeah. So it was interesting how we all kind of found each other, because what happened with Brene's courses is just to kind of give you a bit of the backstory. She started bringing in a few other little micro courses. There was one with Glennon Doyle about the wisdom of story. There was one with Kristen Neff called, what was it called? Was it just self-compassion, or what was it called again?
Self-compassion? I think it was just
self-compassion.
I think so.
Compassion. And it was an absolute hoot, because Brene was told to sort of take deep breaths and meditate, and she was like, oh, what's going on? You know, kept opening her eyes. She said she felt really uncomfortable in that space, and that was what was so beautiful about her, is she really revealed that the things that she was uncomfortable about, but she was prepared to do, really, because she knew at the end of the day that was how you kind of started to de-armor, take your armor off. And then we found ourselves in this little group, offshoot group. I didn't, but I found myself there. But that, we might not go into that story, but I found myself.
We had an offshoot group, and then that grew into another offshoot group.
Yeah, right. And anyway, there ended up with us, I think there was about 14 of us, but I would probably say there was a core of about 10 of us who were actively doing the work. Yeah. What do you think it was about being in a small group with women who were all on the same mission, which was really to take their armor off and use a new language to practice? Because that's ultimately what we were doing. We were practicing the work, but finding a safe space that you could actually share your, because I think, Kate, it was you, because Kate originally was the admin that started with the wins. So we set intentions every week on a Monday, Sunday, Monday, because I'm always one day ahead. And then on the Friday we have wins. So we would share what was going on in our life, but also anything that would happen in between, we would explain, and then we would give empathy and support to. So what do you think about that process? And I'll just go around again, starting with you, Arlette, that you found really powerful and helpful?
For me, it ultimately had to be the safety issue. I wasn't real comfortable with being able to go deep into any story ever otherwise. And a lot of it, I didn't have the language for it yet. I felt like I was such an infant at that stage that I didn't have the language that Brene was even teaching. And what happened was, when I got in a smaller group, I could hear what you were all saying and understand, and hear your stories and understand those stories, that they were my stories too. And that I really did have the language. I just didn't know. I didn't know how to get from point A to point B. It was that missing link, and it felt very, very warm and sisterly. That to me, those were the key things for me. I had to have that to be able to open and take the armor off. Because it was layers. It's layers. And there's still layers. Yeah,
for sure. And often that process could be triggering for other members of the group, and we all had to really manage ourselves. And I think that was what in some ways brought the safety, is that we were able to, you know, have those moments where we were able to go, hang on a second, are you going on for you right now?
Well, and boundaries. I didn't, boundaries? What? I had no idea. And oh my gosh, what a beautiful gift to learn about boundaries.
I agree. Kate, what was your experience being in that smaller group just doing the work and sharing what was going on in your life, and forging new relationships with these women that you really didn't know?
Well, I found the semester to be overwhelming. The 2 books, all of the information, it was way too much, way too many things I couldn't understand. It was like something I thought I wanted to get to, but it felt impossible to know how to reach that. And, you know, the self-compassion class was a key that started to unlock the ability to do some of that work. But in the group, first of all, a lot of people held all the information a lot better than I did. And the terms, and, you know, go back to braving, go back to this, go back to that. So I had a lot of keys to work on it. And secondly, every single time a person mentioned their own pain or their own struggle, I grew from it. And in a way that I call up-leveling, you know, we all rise together every time, not only in their personal experience of what their issue was, but when somebody else would come in and speak to them with compassion, without trying to fix them in certain ways, I would say, oh my God, that's how you do that.
Yes.
I would watch the comments as much as I watched the person in pain. And I would see it unravel, and I would see how people being met with compassion, where they were, you know, and without shame, you know, having the shame break down. It was like things just loosened, and it would loosen in me. And then I could take that out into the world, because I felt it was like when you go to a chiropractor and you have a release. Every time somebody else would have one, I would have one, and something would click a little bit more. And the trust, I think, of being able to share your experience, but also being able to hold the experience of others. There's some kind of power in that was exponential.
I agree. What was was there one part, I mean, there were so many terms that Brene used. For me, the biggest thing that created a shift for me was her talking about the shame gremlins. I got that so quickly that I started to hear their voices as they were just coming down the corridor, the virtual corridor. I could go, I was like, stop! I didn't realize there was such a thing as an internal boundary. You know, we often talk about external boundaries, which are to do with, you know, saying no to somebody, you can't come down to my house, or I feel quite uncomfortable. But to have an internal boundary where you could stop a voice coming into your head that was really, you know, the voice of, you know, the school mom that you were at school with, or your mother, or a grandmother, or, you know, just all the kind of voices that you've heard in your life. To be able to have a boundary with them and say, stop it right now, was like, what? I've got a permission slip to do that. It brought in a space and an awareness that I had no idea about. And that was huge for me. I'm really interested to know, what were your kind of big shifts with her work? Arlette.
For me, what you're saying, the opposite of that is permission slips.
Oh,
so that was equal to that. Like, I can write myself all these permission slips to do these things that feel so illicit or impossible, or what do you mean? I can put these notes in my house that say, you know, you have permission to be as big or whatever as you need to be, or you have permission to take as many naps as you want, or whatever it was. I think that is the other side of the part that you're talking about, Jen.
Yes. Yeah, those were good. For me, I'm such a visual person, and when she was able to do the whole arena and have it fit in with the amazing Theodore Roosevelt quote, and let us, like, how she lined it up and said that there's seats in an arena,
Oh,
and where the critics sit, and who, basically who are you going to let sit in your arena?
Yeah.
That was like, phew. I just couldn't believe how much sense that made to me, but I think it was because she's very, very intuitive about using visuals and connecting the words with the visuals. And that whole course was, it was beautiful course, how she managed to, yes. Yeah. And the door, do you remember, like,
Yes,
the door to the arena? Oh my gosh, I love that. It was like, your hands on the door. Are you going to go in? And it's like, I felt like it really was,
Yeah.
And the armor lined up perfectly with that whole, arena thing. And yeah. For me, the critics and the, seeing myself in the cheap seats too.
Ooh, yeah.
And going, oh yeah, which kind of fits in with the permission slips and the shame gremlins right alongside of each other.
Yeah, no, true. Yeah, that's true. I love the arena. I think she is a queen of the metaphors, but I did love the box seats because I know that I had issues around authority figures that just did that whole big, which of course we're seeing so much at the moment, these authority figures coming in with these huge, massive egos, feeling like they can tell you what to do and what's okay and what's not okay. And you're going, hang on a second. Why have you got so much power over me, And so as soon as she identified the people in the box seats, I was like, oh yeah, I know those people. I know those people.
That little permission stamp, the little inch one of the people opinions you actually care about. I started looking at people who I was concerned with and thinking, are you in an arena? Are you in the mud?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should look at people who don't have their face in the mud right now.
Yeah.
You show me where you're fighting to try and get somewhere and you're braving, and then I'll listen more. That shifted a lot for me.
Yes, that was a good one too. And that works daily.
I really remember it, yes.
Yeah.
Are you on my inch paper? Let me pull out my inch paper.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Well, we just had the discussion this weekend in this house with my husband, and I said the 1 by 1 inch, and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Because I've heard you say that before. What is that?" So I cut. We were sitting at the counter. I cut a 1 by 1 inch, and I said, "Here," and I gave him a pen. I said, "Write all the people's names on there that you would trust with your story." And he's like, "Oh, I get it."
Yeah, it's a really powerful, and I was going to ask you both about that because, to be honest, forging those friendships with other women has been a real challenge for me throughout my life. I'm going to be honest, because women have been bred to be really catty and judgmental and take each other down. And in fact, Glennon Doyle has just brought a great book out called Untamed, which really talks to all about that, our conditioning around successful women or women who are being brave and speaking up or who are a bit different, all of that thing. And I know I never quite fitted into a mold, and I think I really struggled to find friendships because I wasn't prepared to fit in. And what this did for me was it helped me build relationships from a distance with all this sort of, with using a similar language with really clear boundaries around what was okay. And as a result of that safety that I've created with you two and the others, I have been able to now create beautiful friendships with other women. I feel quite emotional, but really beautiful friendships with other women that I could only have ever dreamed about. I could only have ever dreamed about having like sisters that I feel that I could share my truth with without feeling judged. And that to me has been absolute gold. So firstly, thank you to you both for helping me do that with my life. How has that aspect shifted things for you in terms of close friendships and trust?
Well,
Progress. It's progress.
Yes. I was was actually leaving a group of friends when I started taking Brene's course. So for me, it helped in the healing journey of what wasn't meant to be, because I no longer was fitting in, and I never really did belong. And it took a lot to understand that concept too. Thank you, Tokapa. I was simply giving up too many parts of myself to fit in to a group of friends that didn't appreciate or give back. But there again, I was also the one that was willing to cut off pieces of myself to do it, you know? So it helped me heal. It's helped me heal from realizing that there are true friendships out there, and it is not quantity, it's quality. That was my big takeaway, and extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Besides you guys, because this whole amazing thing was going on at that time too. So I could see what it could morph into if I chose to follow that path.
Yeah. Yeah. Kate,
Yes.
what are your thoughts? Yes, on all of that.
I was just mesmerized watching her. I have found it really challenging in the real world, beyond people in our group or us or people who have not taken the same classes, because a lot of them don't take off their armor. A lot of them don't respond with vulnerability. I found it challenging, like when I do meet those rare souls that are open in the way I am, I can be open and they can be open, and that works better.
Yeah.
But I also find it very difficult because, like I can have a situation where somebody will just slam me to the ground with shame, or they can chandelier me, or do all the terms that Brene talks about, or that they haven't learned to be kind to their inner child, which is another kind of work, we all kind of did.
Yeah.
It's like, if they don't have self-compassion, they come at me with anger because they're not compassionate for themselves, then we only have so far we can go. And then I can't, so yes, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
But I also find a lot of it's led me on a pretty solitary path in another way, just because of not always finding those people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Truth there, sister. I think, it's really interesting that the next book after Rising Strong was Braving the Wilderness. And Tokapa came out with Belonging shortly afterwards. Tokapa Turner, if anybody hasn't read her book called Belonging, get it. Because it really, really teaches you the importance of stepping away in order to honor your truth, and people will find you by you speaking your language. There'll be other people out there that go, oh, yeah, I resonate to that. I know where to find a soul sister. If you're not speaking your truth, you're just fitting into what everybody else is saying. So you're not unique in any particular way. But if you stand up for what you believe in and what you believe is true and all the rest of it, it makes it very clear for people to know whether or not they can trust you, whether they like you, whether you're kind of their person or not. And God, that takes so much courage. That's the whole arena thing, isn't it? That is the whole arena thing, the metaphor for the that Arlette was talking about. Yeah.
Maybe we had the gift of having the group and having compassion and empathy and love in our group that then let us go off and be ourselves differently. That's a big part of what happened.
I totally agree. I don't think I could have been, what's going on here?
I don't know.
Oh, hang on 2 seconds. Sorry. Can you still see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where I've gone. So I've gone. Hang on. I'll just click on my Zoom.
You're right there.
Oh, there we go. I'm back.
Yeah, great.
room. I don't think I would be sitting here doing what I'm doing if I hadn't had a sisterhood that I could come, because every time I went out and I go, oh shit, that was really, really difficult. And I come back and I go, it was really difficult, it was really horrible, and this person said that, and I don't know what to do, and it's hard, and I'm fighting with everybody. And you know, one of you would go, me too, sister. I'm face down too. I was there last week. It's hard. It's hard. I honor the courage it took to, you know, have that conversation. Geez, if I hadn't had you guys, I would not have been able to.
Oh, it was like having this little private cave to go back into when the real stuff just got too much. You could always just come, and you know, at the time, I didn't even look at it as that. I just remember thinking, oh, I can at least get, you know, my emotions out here on social media with my sisters, and they'll hear me, because being seen and heard, those two things right there.
Yeah.
That allows everything else to be healed, when you can know that you're seen and heard.
I agree. As you always say, Arlette, when the words hit the air, that's when the transformation happens. And so
is it backwards? Because it's right there.
Oh, is it? When the truth, that's it. Truth of things hit the air. It's true. I don't think people understand the power of actually speaking words in a safe space. Just that, as soon as they hit the air, the shame goes. The shame evaporates, because it only survives in secrecy in your own heart.
Right.
Yeah, I would call it coming in hot. That's how I like.
Coming in.
I'm coming in hot, man. Here I've got to get in there, and I've got to say what just happened, because, and it was, at first it was terribly humiliating to say, oh my God, you won't believe what happened, or oh, I just tried this, and let me tell. But inevitably somebody would say, they would, you know, humanize it and say, oh yes, that's happened to me, or oh my God, that must have felt terrible, and give me compassion. But it definitely made you not feel alone. It was like having wind beneath your wings of some sort that helps you forward. You have strength, that core of strength behind you, so then you can go out and be individual. And even if somebody knocks you down, you still know that you're on a good path. You're like, there's still something strong and good about your core that then morphs into your own core. Yeah.
That is a good wind beneath the wings is a really good metaphor for that. Because because you could test it. You could get all the feels out. I mean, even the ones that you didn't want to feel, and then go ahead and then it was like you guys just kind of pushing us each out of the nest. Go ahead, try it again. Go ahead.
That's right. We were there in the cave with blankets, there were biscuits, there were cookies, there were cake. And we still have it, and it's still a gorgeous space of comfort and joy and restoration and kindness and love. We have got only a few minutes left, my love, so I'm just going to ask you quickly, if somebody hadn't read a book by Brene Brown, which one would you recommend first? Right now, bearing in mind where we all are right now.
I'm going to go with Gifts of Imperfection, just because it's the first. It covers so many things, including resilience, which we all really need right now. So I think that's going to be my first hit.
Gosh, yeah, that's such a good book. I mean, all of them. But I'm going to go the opposite side of the spectrum, and I'm going to go with Braving the Wilderness.
Okay.
Because and I'm probably saying that more on the basis of just feeling the lack of civility and divide that is in our country right now. And that's kind of solely the only reason I'm even saying that.
Yeah. I was going to jump with Brave in the Wilderness, but I tell you what, I am going to start with, I will say Daring Greatly, because I tell you what, the first time I picked up that book, I went, Oh no, I'm not reading this. No, I'm not. And I just went, I really did not want to go there. And then I got sick and I opened it and I went, I had to read it before the course. And I started to read it and I just consumed it because it really helps you get in the structure, the framework of boundary setting, you know, what's okay, what's not okay, all the kind of the basic structures to then go out and then sort of honor your truth and stand alone and deal with all the other voices in your head and all the rest of it. Anyway, listen, my loves, thank you so very much for just this tiny snippet of our gorgeous little space that we've created together, and also sharing how rich a journey this has been. And hopefully this is a permission slip to other women to also foster beautiful relationships with women that they don't know online, because the potential to find sisterhood is real.
Yeah, well spoken.
Thank you. Thank you.